All right, I'm bringing the energy. What we learned tonight. Clint, Brakebill, Kale, Steed, we learned that Tascosa moved to 2-0, and they've scored a lot of points in district so far.
It was a big night for AISD all the way around.
Sure.
And a lot of games that weren't close that were really good, but one game that was in town, that was Tascosa. Over 60 points a game so far in 2 district wins.
Yep.
Last week struggled with Coronado a little bit in the first half, turned it on. This week, no issues. Just blowing out Lubbock High 69-0 behind a devastating run game. They're in the driver's seat right now with Abilene High, who we'll talk about in a second. But right now, you got to like the way Tascosa's playing.
And throwing it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. The Revs.
So, some passing touchdowns in this game from the lefty wearing the pink sleeve. So, yeah, love it. Amarillo High, they were in a dogfight. Abilene High is one of those teams that I think you could circle as a district favorite. They had their chance to knock off Abilene High on the road. They got up by a sizable margin.
Chad Dunham and his team, that's going to be a long bus ride home from Abilene. You're up 21-0. Late in the second quarter, Abilene High scores to make it 21-7 by half, and then the second half just did not go your way. You know, you gave up 24 unanswered overall. They kicked, I think Abilene High had, the Warbirds had a field goal with 5 minutes to go up 24-21. Amarillo High did have a chance late. Jet Lopez threw a pick inside the Abilene High 30 with a minute and a half to go and just couldn't get anything going after that. Tough loss, but hey, you're 1-1.
Yep.
The tough
and we're right there neck and neck with the top of the district.
One of their better teams out of the way. You know, I think from here they roll until the Tascosa game.
That one will always be fun, and maybe a little bit more on the line this week because the top 2 teams in 5A get to host a playoff game, so it's a big deal to finish 1 or 2. Last but not least for Amarillo ISD, only last because they're 5A Division II, but what a night from the Palo Duro Dons.
Holy cow. I think that the Palo Duro Dons put their self on the map when it came to a statewide level. I texted with Matt Stepp tonight from DCTF, Dave Campbell, Texas football, and he's like, they're legit. And I'm like, man, I'm telling you, we saw it against Amarillo High. But to go on the road, they haven't left Amarillo this year. To go on the road and beat a Memorial team that everybody penciled in as the top of the district and beat them soundly, 49-6, and they did it behind the run game. Amariah James, 92 yards rushing, 104 yards rushing. Raymond Johnson, the 5th, 92 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, and Deuce Reese, 223 through the air, 4 passing touchdowns. And get this, Clint, the Palo Duro defense limited Memorial to 222 yards of offense. Complete team win. Boy, Eric Mims' team has got to be looking now in the driver's seat of District 2 5A Division II.
One of the most complete efforts we've seen Palo Duro put together, and also at quarterback. I think the best game we've seen, one of the best games we've seen from Deuce, especially when you consider who they were playing, where they were playing, and all the elements thrown in. What an effort from Deuce Reese. He's going to be a contender for Player of the Week.
Oh, completely.
And then we moved down some classifications. Dalhart, they took care of business at home.
Dalhart's a team we got to start paying attention to. You know, they're always the team that gets overlooked because of Bushland and where they are geographically in the Texas Panhandle. But man, they've pitched back-to-back shutouts. They whipped Muleshoe, who's not a bad team tonight. Hunter Trussler is getting better by the week. We've talked about him a lot. He's a guy we've got to talk about when it comes to the great quarterbacks in this area. Look out when district starts. Look out Shallow-Water. Look out Bushland, man. I think they're a team that will be able to contend. Also, Bushland goes on the road, gets a big win at Perryton, a team we've counted out, man. They lost 4 in a row. But they snapped that tonight.
And then we move from 3A D1 to 3A D2. Childress Bobcats, they go on the road and they pick up a good win. I was going to say statement win. I don't know if it's a statement win against a 282, but still a big win on the road.
Yeah, Lushawn Davis had a night, man. The running back for Childress, 166 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 of 65 yards. So big win for the Bobcats. I don't know if we knew what their offense was about, but tonight we kind of found out. They were able to run the football in Stratford. How often do you see Stratford give up 41 points at St. Bass?
Not very often.
No.
Not very often at home.
No.
And then we go to the 6-man ranks. You got to see the Claude Mustangs, arguably the top 6-man 1A team in the area for us right now.
Best start for the Claude Mustangs at the 6-man level. And you got to love what Brantley Lemon's doing. They have a stable. You like that? Mustang stable?
Yes.
They have a stable of backs holding ties to something else. Trapper Godfrey, I think, had 4 touchdowns in the first quarter. Lee Baker and I enjoyed ourselves tonight, man. And it was over at half. We were done at 8 o'clock. I didn't know what to do with myself. But look out for Claude. They're 5-1. They open district with Booker next week. That ought to be a dandy because Booker got a big win in the Battle of Lipscomb County tonight. They came back to beat Follette 46-42.
Last note, West Plains, they had one of those spotlight games going on the road to Argyle to face off with Liberty Christian, a team that put a whooping on them last year. That didn't happen this year. West Plains had a chance to win it, ends up going to overtime. West Plains fumbles in overtime, and then Liberty Christian cashed in. But they played right there with one of the better teams in the state. Now, they're not UIL, so we won't see them in the playoffs.
Sure.
But we will see them in taps making some noise. A very good team that they stood toe-to-toe with.
This one's going to hurt because you're up 35-32, and Argyle Christian hits a field goal with like 5 seconds left.
Sure.
But still, at the same time, this team beat them 56-7 last year. So a lot you could take from this loss. You're going to district. Nothing is lost from this loss, right? If that makes sense.
No, it does. I think the one thing I gained from this is that my view of West Plains hasn't changed at all. They are very good, and they're going to be one of the very last teams standing in the state. We dive into a full district slate next week. We have some really good games on tap. We get through bye week hell a little bit, and we get back to a full slate next week, and I'm looking forward to it. Kale, Steed, Clint, Brakebill, that's what we learned tonight.